As fans of the more extreme side of heavy music, it's easy to get sucked into the idea that lower tunings equal heavier sounds. Like all guitar students, I wanted to learn songs that I enjoy. The same songs that inspired me to pick up a guitar for the first time. I quickly noticed a recurring problem. I was learning the fundamentals of guitar in E standard tuning, but most of the songs I wanted to learn were in lower tunings. I really wanted to learn the guitar in a more traditional sense, but I just as badly wanted my guitar to sound heavy at the same time. Fortunately, I came to the realization that lower tunings are not the only path to heaviness. In this lesson, I'm going to share with you how E standard tuning can be your best friend when it comes to making crushing sounds. And a big part of getting a heavy sound has a lot to do with your amp tones. So I want to throw in something special for you to put to use right away. It's my Elite Tones cheat sheet, and it's completely free. It'll help you dial in killer amp tones, and it'll even show you how to make your digital amp simulators sound like authentic physical amplifiers. It even has direct links to some of my favorite free amp sims. So just click the link in the description or go to zaksharguitar.com and download this awesome free resource. Then come back to learn how to make E standard tuning sound massively heavy. So first, it's important to realize that composition and arrangement are key to making a heavy song. If you're playing by yourself and have no one else to accompany you, I get it. It can feel limiting to have that low E string be your lowest sound, but higher range notes can still pack a lot of fierce punch. If you start a song with higher notes, it really doesn't matter how low your tuning is. The lower notes that you then introduce can add enough contrast to hit your listeners' ears hard. And if you want a good starting place to see some of this in action, check out the video I made on the best keys to play in for metal guitar. And it's important to realize that heaviness isn't just dependent on the guitar. All instruments work together in a well-arranged piece. Like the bass plays a huge role in making your guitar sound big and fat. We'll talk a little bit more about how music theory plays more of a role in that later when we talk about harnessing the power of intervals. Then you've got the drums, which are the backbone of music, especially heavy music. Having a good drummer who knows what they're doing, knows when to dial it back, and when to make the music hit harder can be one of the most important contributions to the weight of your sound. Do you have other musicians you can play with to help remedy this? Comment below and tell me either way. Another thing that can help you harness the power and the heaviness of E standard tuning is to explore different types of intervals you can chug on. For example, there's the fifth, the power chord that everyone loves and has seen before. And this is a classic way to get the job done. But we can also drop that fifth degree down a half step and make it a tritone. This will produce a jarring, uncomfortable sound, which is perfect for metal. Next, we can drop that flatted fifth note down another half step to create either a perfect fourth or an inverted fifth, depending on what you consider the root to be. Whether it's a perfect fourth or an inverted fifth depends on which note is considered to be the root. And in a full arrangement, the bass player is really the one who ends up deciding that for you depending on what note they play. So for example, if we've got this F sharp and B I'm playing right here, if the bass player is holding down that F sharp note, that means it's a perfect fourth. But if they're holding down a B note, that's basically just an inverted power chord. And palm muting is something you can use to bring out the chug. By using light pressure from the heel of your palm near the bridge of your guitar, you can really get a heavier thudding sound. But pressing harder with the heel of the palm is something that I hear a lot of people do, and I'm guessing a lot of people like it because I hear it a lot in the more modern metalcore and gent music, but personally I can't really stand this because it sounds thinner and weak. That's why I palm mute with lighter pressure. It adds more weight. More weight equals heavy. Playing mostly in E standard tuning and even restricting yourself to the idea of only using E standard tuning gives rise to the idea that limitations breed creativity. Even as someone who's really into modern heavy music, I found myself largely playing in E standard tuning for years. This was largely the result of getting a guitar with a Floyd Rose bridge. Despite it being the best bridge in the world, it can make tuning adjustments more difficult. If you've had experience with a Floyd Rose bridge, I know you can relate to this. But you can make it work too. And since hardly any of the modern bands I see today are playing in E standard tuning, this can be a really good way for you to set yourself apart from the rest and stand out from the crowd. And use a tuning where most listeners can actually distinguish one tone from another. If bands from the earlier days like Metallica, and modern metal acts like Sylosis, can pull this off, you can too. So as you can see, there are plenty of ways to make E standard tuning sound massively heavy. Composition and arrangement considerations, chugging intervals, and palm muting are weapons you can add to your arsenal to emerge victorious in sonic warfare by only using E standard tuning alone. Not to mention, it's important to keep in mind that limitations breed creativity. If you want to stand out in the modern world of heavy music, E standard tuning might just be the way for you to go. And if you're serious about getting your tones to sound the best they can, don't forget to download my free Elite Tones cheat sheet if you have not done so already. It'll help you dial in killer amp tones, and it'll show you how to make amp simulators sound like authentic physical amplifiers. It also has links to some of my favorite free amp sims. Just click the link in the description or go to ZachSharGuitar.com and download this awesome free resource. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Zach with Zach Shar Guitar, and I will see you in the next one.